Hi, welcome to the channel. Today I want to show you how I made this particular shirt with pockets. Did you hear that? So we are going to be marking directly on the fabric. There is no pattern needed for this, and the body measurements I used will be included on the video. The cutting, the stitching, all are available on this particular video. So thank you for joining me. And if you're new to sewing, just go watch my videos. Okay, these videos are going to explain to you the process involved in making a pant, and once you're done watching, come back and come make your shirt. So let's dive into the actual video. Since this is directly marked on the fabric, the first thing I'll do is fold my fabric into two to mark the front piece of my shirt. So on the table here, I have my Ankara fabric, and this is the wrong side of my Ankara. So I folded my fabric into the good side, and it is folded into two. So how do you determine the fold of your fabric? For me, what I did is, to determine the folding of my fabric, I went ahead to divide my round lap by 2 plus extra allowance of 4 to 5 inches. Okay, so my round lap is 26 divided by 2 gives you 13 inches, and the extra allowance added to my own measurement is 4. So 13 plus 4 gives you 17 inches. So this is how I determine the folding of my fabric. That's the width of my fabric. And for the length, I'm just going to be marking the length of my shirt, how long I want my shirt to be on my body. So I'm going to confirm that I have 17 inches here as the width. Okay, I showed you how I got 17 inches, dividing my round lap by 2 plus 4 inches. So this is 17.5, and that's the width of my fabric. So what I'll do next is I am going to be marking 1 inch from this close edge in, okay, as a starting line. Not like a starting line. The starting line is going to be on top of my Ankara, but for this side here, I'm marking 1 inches in because I might need it for allowance later when I'm done drafting. Okay, so I'm marking that 1 inch, and I'm just going to separate that with a straight line. Separate it from other part of the fabric. If you want the same fit I have on my shirt, please do this. Mark 1 inch or 2 inches before we start marking. Okay, now on the top of the fabric, I'll come down by 2 inches as my starting line, which is the waist line. So this is the main starting line for the top of the shirt. Okay, this is where the waist is going to be sitting. Whenever I say starting line, it means that that's the point where the waist or the shoulder will be sitting. Okay, so for the shirt, this is where the waist is going to be sitting, and yeah, the starting line. Note that the starting line is where the waist measurement will sit, and for those of you that don't know that now. Okay, I decided to just write it here so you know. Now from the waist here, I will mark down the length of the shirt. So I'll go down and mark the length of my shirt, and 17 inches is the length plus 1 inch for hemming. Okay, I'll be marking 18. So you can see that I placed my tape on the waist and I went down to mark 18 inches as the length of my shirt. Now I did not minus my band measurements yet, but then this is the length I'll be using. So this is the length, and now I have like a square thingy happening here. So this is the side, and yeah, I'm just showing you that I have a square thingy happening here. Now from the waist, I'll mark down my hip measurement, taking out 2 inches for the band. right? I'll take out 2 inches for the band and I'll mark my hip measurement, which is 9. So I'll place 2 inches on the waistline, which means I've taken out my band measurement out of it, because this particular short I am going to be attaching an external band. Okay, so if you're not attaching an external band, you mark directly from 1 down to your 10 inches or to your own hip point. But because I am going to add like an extra band to this, an external band, I'm taking out 2 inches and I'm marking my hip points down. Okay, so here is my hip line, and the next measurement I'll be marking is my crouch depth. Okay, and for my crouch depth is 11 inches, and I'm going to be adding 1 inch to that measurement, which is 12, because I want a little bit of freedom at the crouch. So for me to mark out that 12, that's mark 12 for my waist, I took out my band measurement again. Okay, so 2 inches is what is placed on my waist, and I'm going down to mark 12 inches as my crouch depth, not my crouch length, my crouch depth. If you have seen my short video where I explained all these things, you understand what I'm saying. Okay, you understand what a crouch depth is and what a crouch length is. Okay, so this here is my crouch C. So these are the 4 measurements we need for the short, hip, waist, length. Okay, four measurements, please do not miss it. Now we're going to be imputing the round measurement on all lines. Okay, on all the lines we're going to be imputing the round measurement, of course starting from the waist. So on the waist I'll be marking 1.5 inch in from that point, from this point here. This is for my shaping, okay, to have that shape from the waist to the hip, and I'll connect that to the hip line. From my waist to my hip is not straight, and that is why I marked in 1.5 inch from the side of my waist, and I connected the line to the hip, directly to the hip. And I'm using my curve ruler to do this, so I get that curve from my waist to my hip. Once that is done, from this point here, I'll be marking my round waist divided by 4. Okay, my round waist is 30 divided by 4 gives you 7.5. Anyways, my round waist is actually 29 now, and I actually used 30 because I didn't want this to be tight on my waist. Now I'm going to be adding 1 inch for my dart. Okay, this particular short had a dart, so I'll be adding 1 inch for my dart. So please go ahead and add your 1 inch for your dart. We move to the hip. We're going to be dividing the round hip by 4 and marking this on the hip line. My round hip is 43 divided by 4 gives you 10.75, and I'm marking this on the hip line, and I'll connect this to the waist, the point I have on the waist. Next, the crouch. For my crouch, I'll divide my round lap by 2 and I'll mark this on my crouch line. Okay, my round lap is 26 divided by 2 gives you 13 inches, and I'm marking 13 inches on my crouch line. I'm going to be extending my crouch by 2 inches, so I'm adding extra 2 inches to that measurement, so I have 15 inches sitting on my crouch. Okay, and please go ahead and do the same. And now I'll connect this point to my hip line, creating a curve. Okay, creating a curve, which is the crouch curve, or the crouch curve that we need. So this is the curve for my crouch, and I connected this from my crouch point to my hip, and this is it. Okay, I'll just adjust here, adjust all necessary adjustments. And over to the length, what I'll be doing on the length is just marking my round lap divided by 2, and that's just it. Okay, So I'll just divide my round lap by 2 and I'll mark it there. And I'll be marking extra 1 inch or 0.75. I think I use 0.75 on the lap just for a little bit of ease. This is not a tight fitted short. This is just something free. You can see how it looks on my body on the intro of the video. So it's not tight fitted, it's a free short. And yeah, because of the allowance, I added 1 inch or 0.75 to the length. Okay. And I connected this to the crouch using a curve ruler. And that's it. Now we're going to be adding allowance on the side, okay? On the side of the short, this front piece, we're going to be adding allowance of 0.5 inch. Now this is why I left that 1 inch before we started marking this whole measurement. I told you I was going to be leaving it because I will add allowance on the side. So that's the allowance I'm adding now. I'm adding just ½ inch on the side, because I want this particular short to be free. So on the length, I mark 0.5 inch. On the crouch, I marked 0.5 inch. On the hip, I'm going to be marking 0.5 inch. But then on the waist, I'll be marking nothing, okay? Because I need this to be my actual waist measurement. So I'll connect this with a curve to the waistline without adding any allowance to the side of my waist. To adjust every sharp edges, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to adjust every sharp edges. And remember, this is the Ankara. We're marking directly to the Ankara. So we need all this extra allowance so that we don't end up having a tight fit short. Okay, that's not the purpose. Now we're going to be creating the darts on the front piece. For the darts, I'll place my tape on the waist to find the middle point. So I'll just place it like this, fold it into 2 to get the middle point, because I'll be creating my dart on the middle point. Okay, so I'll indicate the middle point, and on the middle point I'll come down by 4 inches, straight down by 4 inches, straight down. I'll use my ruler to connect these points together, the middle point down to the 4 inches. And then the dart I'll be taking is ½ inch on each side of the line, because we left 1 inch when we were marking our round waist measurements, right? We left 1 inch allowance for the dart. So ½ inch here, ½ inch here equals 1. I'll connect this down to the 4 inches, and this automatically eliminated the allowance for the dart. Okay, so this is my dart. Next, we're going to be taking out 1 inch from the center front of the front piece. Okay, center front here. We'll come down by 1 inch and connect this to the side of the short. Okay, just like I am doing to the side. See, my hand from the side, leaving like 1 inch allowance or ½ inch before you connect. So this is it. So before the side, I left like 1 inch. That's what I was trying to show you. And I'll cut. Now, while I'm cutting the length, I'll cut on the actual length, because this right now is like longer than what it's meant to be. Okay, so I'm cutting on the length directly. Now, but when I get to the waist, I will be leaving ½ inch for joining to the band. So I don't join into my measurement. So while cutting on the waist, I'll leave ½ inch on top. Okay, see my hand? I'll leave ½ inch on top and then cut. And that ½ inch is for joining to my band. Remember, I said I will be adding external band to my short. So this is the ½ inch. Let's calculate. This is it, 0.5 extra. Okay, and this is for joining to the band. And now just go ahead and cut out every other point. Remember to take out that 1 inch from the center front. So this is my front piece. I have 2 pieces of fabric here, and both is for the front. Okay, you can see 2 pieces of fabric and both for the front, and we're going to be duplicating to get the back. Now, before we go ahead to drop the back, I am going to be measuring the crouch length on my front piece. Okay, I need to know how long my front and crouch length is. On the center front, I'll be calculating how long the crouch is. Okay, this is the crouch length. This is my center front. This is where the crouch is sitting and the crouch length. So I'm calculating what I have here. And I got 12 inches. I'll try to remember that particular number because when I draft out the back, I will have to confirm if from the front to the back, I have the total crouch length of my body. And in case you're still confused, go watch my actual pants video. I have 2 actual pants video that I uploaded this year talking about how to understand making a pant, okay? So let's draft out the back piece directly on the fabric. Grab a new fabric, fold into 2 and iron this down so it lays flat. Grab your front piece and place it on the fabric like this. Go ahead and pin this down. Okay, so I'll go ahead and pin mine down. Practically, we're going to be duplicating the front on this new fabric, but then we're going to be adding 1.5 inch extra to it, and that is it. That's what makes it the back piece, okay? So now I'll extend my waistline. Remember, I took 1 inch on the center front. I am going to just extend from the side. I'll replace that 1 inch back. Now, I would advise not to cut it out on the front before you draft out your back if you are new to sewing. So you do this first, you draft out your back first before you cut out yours. But because I'm not new to sewing, I cut mine out. So I had to replace it back, that waistline. I had to make it actually correct back for the back and then trace every other part out. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. So now I'll be marking that extra 1.5 inch and I'll be starting from the crouch. I'll extend the back crouch by 1.5 and then I'll connect the front to it. And on the length, I'll just be marking 1.5 inch also, just the same thing I marked on the crouch. I'll connect. And I'll do the same thing on the hip and on the waist. I'll be marking extra 1.5 inch from the front. I'll mark out 1.5 inch to the back, just for that extension. That's the only thing that makes the back different from the front, the extension of 1.5 inch on center back, okay? This is happening on the center back. So 1.5. So 1.5. I'll connect the waist to the hip. And then I'll just use my hand to connect this to the new back crouch line, following the front crouch, okay? So you see what I have here? You see that the crouch on my back and the front is sitting on the same line. Please make sure you do that, okay? Make sure you have the same thing. I want to confirm my crouch length. Remember, I had 12 for the front, so I'll continue from 12 and I'll calculate what I have here. I got 25.5. Let's do the math. Now, my actual crouch length is 29 from front to back. When I measure, I get 29. Now on the short pattern, the front I got 12, on the back I got 13.5, which is 12 plus 13.5 gives you 25.5, right? Plus 4 inches for the band. Remember, I took out 2 inches while I was drafting for the band, which is 2 for the front, 2 for the back, which is 4. 25.5 plus 4 inches gives you 29.5, and which is close to 29 itself. So yeah, that's good. I don't know if you understand this. If you don't understand this, just refer back to my actual video that I teach, or I show you how to really understand the process in making a pant, okay? Long, short, whichever, there's a process, and I have the video available. But yeah, what I had on my crouch on this pant is correct, so I'll go ahead and start cutting. Now I'll just unpin, take out my pins to separate the front from the back. I'm done with the front. Now for the back, I have to draft out my darts, and to mark my darts, this is what I'll be doing. I'll mark the middle point on the waist, so I'll divide this by 2. From the middle point, I'll go down by 5.5 inches. I'll connect this to the middle point straight, and I'll be taking the dart of 1 inch. Okay, so on the side of this line, I'll mark half an inch. On this other side, I'll mark half an inch. Half an inch plus half an inch gives you 1. I'll connect each dart to the base here, and we have successfully taken out the dart for the back. So go ahead and notch, okay, because we are doing this on the fabric directly. Go ahead and notch this out, so it will be easier for you to sew when you want to sew. Now we have to create the pocket for the front piece, okay? To create your pocket for the front piece, fold out a fabric, width 8 inches, length 11 inches. And when I mean width, I mean after folding, make sure you have 8 inches as the width of your fabric, okay? So this is before fold. I have 16 inches, and when I fold, it becomes 8 inches. So when I fold like this, it becomes 8 inches. For the length, I have 11 inches. For the length of my fabric here, I have 11 inches. And I have 2 here, one for the right and one for the left side of my pocket, okay? Both folded into 2. Now I'll be working on one side. On the top here, I'll be marking 1 inch. I'll go in by 1 inch. And I'll do this on one side of the fabric, okay? That's why I just separated it, so that you see that I did not do it on this both sides. On one side, I'll mark 1 inch in here. 1 inch or 1.5 is up to you, but I'm using 1 inch because this is the fabric. I have to sew in half an inch later. I'll come down by 7 inches, and 7 inches because my hand should be able to, go through my pocket, okay? So if you have bigger hands than me, I would advise you to use 8, okay, so that your hand can go in your pocket space, okay? I'll connect the 1 inch to the 7 inches using a curve to create that opening for the pocket. And this is how I always create my pocket, okay? There are so many other ways you can create pockets, but this is how I always create my pockets. I might be venturing into other process of creating a pocket, but this is the one I know for now. So when I fold this back into the 2 that it's meant to be, this is what it looks like, okay? See where your hand goes in from. So I'll go ahead and, duplicate this on this other fabric. And for it to be, for me to make sure it is accurate, I'll open this and place both fabric right side facing right side. That's the good side facing the good side. And I'll cut. There's a reason why you should do it like this, because if you don't do it, you might end up cutting the same side for the same side for your both fabrics. But if you do it like this, you have different sides for the left and for the right, okay? So you can see that this one here is different from this. See, you see, for different side of the legs, okay, left and right. So next, I am going to be using the pocket fabric to create the spots or the points where the pocket will be sitting from the waist down. So what I'll do is I'll open up my pocket again. I'll place this on the waist. Try to get that same curve I have on the pocket on my short fabric. This is happening on the front piece, okay? So once I have that and everything is sitting well, I'll go ahead and cut. I'll cut this out. It means that this particular pocket is going to be sitting on this side of my short, and I'll pin, okay? You can go ahead and pin this now before you go sew, but this is it. So let's sew this so you understand what we've been doing. Now we've gotten to the sewing version of the short. Grab all your pieces together, your pocket piece, your front piece, and your back piece. Grab all and let's start sewing. Now first thing I will do is sew my dart. This is the front piece. You can see that the pocket is like pinned to it. So I'll start by sewing in the dart. And whatever I'm doing on the left leg of my front piece, I'll do on the right leg of my front piece, okay? But I don't have to show you the both piece. I'll show you one, but no, you're doing the same thing. After the dart, the next is the pockets. I'll join the pockets. I already pinned the pockets to my fabric, so I'll start sewing on that opening, that curve of the pocket, okay? So this is the curve. I'll take out my pin and then I'll sew by 0.25, quarter an inch. And you can see that I'm only sewing from the 1 inch down to the 7 inches that I connected while creating the pockets, okay? And this is it. So when I open this and I fold my pockets right side, you can see that this is what it looks like. Like, this is the easiest way for you to create pockets, I swear. For me, this is like easy. See, automatically you have your pockets here. Next, just go iron. So while we're ironing is that we need to use hemming gum to hold the pockets to the short, okay? Some people like to top stitch. That's for where we have the curve happening on the pocket. Some people like to top stitch, but I like to use hemming gum because I don't want to see stitch on the pants. I don't like to see stitch. One day I might exploit the type that I see stitch, but I like to use hemming gum. So I'll use my hemming gum to press the pockets to the shorts. While you're doing it, just be careful. Take your time. Don't rush. So that's done. I'll fold it back the way it is meant to be, and this is what I have. So ironing is actually important in this particular project. Make sure you iron. So this is what it looks like, right? Now what we're going to do is we're going to go sew the pockets together, okay? Now we're done joining the pockets to the short fabric. We have to go sew the pockets together so that the base of the pocket is not open. See the base? We need to sew it. So I'll fold this to the right side. And I'll sew on the right side because the right side is going to be inside the pockets, while the wrong side is going to be outside. So I've sewn it by quarter an inch. I'll flip it back to the wrong side and iron this so that it is flat. So this is how I always join my shorts and pockets together, okay? So you see, now we have a close edge on the base of the pocket, and yeah. So what I did on the left leg, I did on the right leg, and this is what we have, okay? So this is my two front piece, and now let's go sew the front and the back together. Now the first step for me while joining my short is that I'll sew the two front piece together, I'll sew the two back piece together, and then I'll join everything together, right? So I'll do that. I'm going to start by doing that. This is my back piece. I'm showing you that I have the darts stitched, okay? So I have the dart stitch on the back, and I'll just go sew the two back piece together and also the two front piece. So these are the two front piece, and I'll be sewing on the crouch area. The crouch, that's the center front, or the center, yeah, the center front, which is the crouch area. I'll sew this by 0.75. Only sewing on the center front, okay? Sewing the two center fronts together, and this is what I have. So what I did on the front, I did on the back. I sewed the two back pieces together, sewing on the center backs, or the center back. I sewed the two center back together. So now I'll be joining the crouch extensions together. So I'll grab the front crouch extension, this is it, and then the back too, and I'll sew this, making sure that the point where I have the joining, the two front, the two back, that point is my center, that's my middle point. I'll sew to the left, then I sew to the right, okay? Now I'm sewing to the left, I guess. I've done the right. But basically just joining the two crouch together, making sure that the line where I joined the center front and the center back is seated together. And now I'll sew the sides of my short, joining the front and the back together, and I'm sewing by the measurement I got after calculating my waist. Okay, so the waist is what I'm using to sew this in. So after I measured the front waistline and the back waistline, the extra allowance I got is what I'm using to sew in my shorts, okay? and that is it. The next thing I'm going to do is cut out my band. And you guys already know the rodeo for the band cutting. My band cutting is always very simple. I'll first of all measure my waist, the waist of my shorts, and my zip is going to be sitting on the side of my shirt. Okay, most of the times I always attach my zip to the back, but then I got a friend complain about not, like, she does not want to be attaching a zip to the back because she's always scared that it's going to like pop out or something. So that's why I decided to make this video where I attach my zip to the side of my shorts. Okay, on the waist I have 33 inches, and I'll be cutting a band that is 4 inches more than that width. So instead of 33, I cut out 37, and the length of my band is 5 inches. I'll fold in half an inch here on the top, and the same thing at the base of the band. So because I have 5 inches of length, if I fold in half an inch on the top here, and I fold in half an inch on the base, it means that 1 inch has gone, right? And then when I now fold it to 2 equal parts, I have 2 inches worth of band, which is the 2 inches I need on the waist to complete my crouch length, which is 29 inches or 29.5. So if I fold it into 2 like this, I get 2 inches worth of band, which is the exact measurement I need, that exact band measurement I need to complete my short, okay? To complete the length of my short, that's the crouch length of my short. So to attach my band, this is what I always do. I leave out like half an inch of band first before I start joining this to my waist, and I sew using one of the folded half an inch, and then I start from the wrong side and I proceed to the right side and top stitch. But before I top stitch, I always like my band to have like a clean closed edge on the sides. So for that, I have to close this first. So I'll place my band right side facing right side, and I'll sew on the wrong side by 0.25 just to close that band, okay? Because I like my band always clean at the edge. So I'll close the band at the edge. I'll fold it back to the right side so I can now top stitch on the good side of my short. When I'm using all these words, I'm always wondering if you guys understand good side, wrong side. I wonder if you understand. Even though I made a video 2 years ago talking about the good side of fabric and the bad side of fabric, which is the right side and the wrong side. But yeah, so now all I have to do is top stitch my band on the front, which is the good side. The good side of the fabric is the front side of the fabric. And I'll just sew by 0.125. Like I'm sewing very, very close to the edge of the band, top stitching it to my short, okay? And you can see what I have. I'll do this from the right side of my short to the left side. And yeah, next is just for me to attach my zip, hem the base of the short, and I am done. So for the zip, like I said, it's sitting on the side of my shorts. So if you know how to attach your zip, you know the process. And just the same way I always do it, I always leave 1 inch first on the zip before I start sewing. On the length of the zip, that's the down. And I just sew to the good side of my fabric. But anyways, you guys, this is how I made the shorts for, you know, this particular short has like a matching top, which is the first video I uploaded before this one, like, which is the video, would I call it the boo-boo crop top or the pleated shoulder crop top? The video is actually available. The same fabric, you will see the thumbnail, the same fabric. So in case you want to own a two-piece, this is not bad at all. Like, this particular two-piece to me is not bad. Like, it is something that you can wear for a picnic. It's something that you can wear for like a very casual hangout with friends, you know, just a short and a pleated top, exaggerated sleeves. Oh my god, you can't go wrong with this two-piece. But anyways, this is me trying to finish up the zip aspect of this whole process. And once I'm done with the zip, I took this to the weavers to weave the length. After weaving, I used hemming gum to like hem the base, and that's it. Okay, that's how I created my short. So in case you are really interested, this is the process. I hope you enjoyed everything. I hope the process is actually detailed and easy. Thank you for watching, and you guys see you on the next video. Bye.